I finished implementing the sendKey method in all data handling classes. However, I observed during that there are few more controls that we need to handle by creating common methods. For example, I noticed we have a drop down. And then on some other pages, we have checkboxes, we have radio buttons. Let's start with drop down first, and let's see how can we handle it. As a step one, what we can do, we can write a method. Let's say public void, maybe it's select drop down value. Select drop down value, and okay, and these are the three lines of code which I want to optimize. I place it here. And if we see the first line, we have already implemented a page object model which we are handling, so we can directly pick the web element instead of getting it through the web driver. If you see on here, we have defined our web element, okay, and that web element can be directly used as is. Okay, so it means this is no more needed. If that is the case, then we can start directly from the option. And then we have one is the web element, then number two is the data. So it means technically, if we want to optimize it, we can say web element we want to pass, because this would be the element which I want to repeat it for all the controls. So in that way, basically making it parameterized will help me. Okay, so the next thing which I can do is the value which I want to select. Maybe I can say value. Why it's complaining? It's a string value. Okay, and so in that case, my value can go here, and my element, which I'm now able to find through my page object model. So I can simply exclude the line 1. So now we have a code with 2 lines. Step 1. Okay, now imagine when handling a drop down, let me open our page. Let me open our application. So when handling a drop down manually, we have no other option to pick an element other than from the list. So we can only click on an option which is available on our list. Let's say I picked on this, or I picked on Volvo, or I picked on Ford. So there is no chance that I pick anything else which is not in the list. However, the complication in doing it programmatically, there might be a chance that we could pass some typo value, or even over time, let's say we passed value Ford, and over time they improved and they say now it's a Ford Max. So the value is changed, and our mentioned value may no longer exist. So in such case, what will happen? Our code will encounter an exception. So let's handle that situation. So in that case, at least we have some additional step to make sure that the value exists before actually we ask our control to do the selection. Okay, how to handle it? Let's see. What I will do, I will continue with this code. Okay, this line is gone. We already know that. We agree. Okay, let's say I have this element is selected, and now first as a step one, I say I want to make sure if the option found in my dropdown or not. Let's say I define some boolean and option found, and I initialize it with false so that we can use this boolean to make sure. And then what I need to do, I need to go through this element. Think about it. What is this element? This element is a drop down. So I need to go one by one through all the options to make sure the value which I want to select actually it exists. And if it exists, then I want to select that value. If not, then I want to return an appropriate message so we know that, okay, why this option was not selected. Okay, let me iterate through this. Let me iterate through this. Okay, so now it's the option. This is more like an options now because we are thinking about having a list, and then from these options, what I want to know that pick an option. So options dot get options. So I want to pick some value, and once that value is picked, then what I want to do then. Okay, and this is more like I can do this because this is more like my local variable and web element. Okay, here you go. So now my option, so this option is my local variable, and these are options from the drop down, and we want to get option from the drop down, and once it's there, then basically, oh, this is just complaining. Okay, and once it's there, then what I want to do, I want to verify if option dot text so equals and what this equal would be this value, because we want to make sure if that value exists. If that happen, what do you do? Okay, so now we are saying that this option, this is my first option, and it will move one by one through all these. So in the option, the text, get text, and that value, is text value is equal to this value. If is equal, then what you do? Then the next step is, yes, options, and I say options dot select by visible text. That's what we used previously. Okay, visible text. This is select by visible text we used previously. Okay, select value, and once the value is selected, what I want to do, I want to make our option found is also, just to confirm that option found is now is valid. Okay, make it true. And then the other thing also I want to do, I want to break this loop, because I don't want to continue. If my option is found, then I don't need to move further. But if the option is not found, then actually I want to continue. So okay, I will break. So this my loop, what it will does, it will go to one by one to all option unless it founds the specific value, and once it's found, then it will select that value. Okay, so that is happen in this loop. However, if the option found, this was our option found, if the option found is still not true, mean inside the loop we made it true, but let's say it went through all the loop and it never found a value. So if it never found a value, it will never make the option as true. So option will still be false. So the if option found is false, then what do I need to do? I want to throw, let's say, throw new exception. And I want to say the value let's say I want to maybe in single quote, I want to add a single quote for my value, and value plus I want to add single quotes across my values so that it's clear in my message is not available in the dropdown. Yeah, and so what we're doing, we are throwing an exception, and so I'm concatenating it to two values, and why it's complaining, it says, oh, okay, I need to add through declarations. Okay, so that is okay. So it means now my this message will be displayed and the value will be selected. Okay, that's cool. So now what we can do, we have created a method which can handle a drop-down value, and we know the drop-down value is everywhere on multiple pages. So we don't need this statement anymore. And okay, so this is our method now. What I will do, I will cut from here and go to my common utilities area and add this message now. So this is my message to handle dropdown. So this is my common method dropdown. Here you go. So now what I need to do, I know select dropdown value, and if I come here, let me save first so that I can utilize that method. And now if I come to this class and where I was making actually this selection, let's say instead of making selection here, if I say common and I know select drop down value, here you go, and drop down value for the value is Nissan. I know the value I want to pass Nissan, and Oh, I don't need that. Okay, so the value I want to use this. Okay, let's use this value in here. Okay, so now I have a select drop-down value is, and now it's still complaining. And what complain? I think it should ask throw exception. Yes. So we can throw exception, or we can do let's throw exception for now, and then later we will improve it. Okay, so now we have a method which selects a drop-down value, just passing the web element and its desired value. So technically now we don't need this guy. So these three lines are replaced with this single line, and everywhere wherever we need to select our drop-down value, we can simply call this method, pass the web element and the value which we want to. So what I will do, I will repeat this for all the drop-down in my these pages, and I will fast forward it. Next is a radio button control, which we are utilizing at multiple places. Let me see in my application. If I look into the insurance data, we have radio control here, radio buttons, and yes, so we are using this. So we also want to utilize it in a reusable method. Let's see. So it is on the insurance data. Let me see what we did in the basic module. If I go to basic module, this is my gender radio button. We created a list because we identified the X path for both parent level radio buttons, and then we were moving with the value. So what I will do, I will copy this part of the code and bring it to my insurance data. Maybe yes, that is the insurance data class where we have the gender. And let's see, yes, here is the radio button. So if I copy it here, basically it will work fine as is, but we don't want to do that. We want to create a method so that we can reuse it. And so I will instead bring it outside and create a method, because this is more like a handling radio button. So I will call this method public void, maybe we can say select radio button option, maybe. Yeah. Okay, and paste the entire code here. And now if we see the first line, this line is exactly the line we have now defined it in our page object model. And so this is a list of the radio. So radio gender, if I copy it from here, and if I say in this method, what I want to do, I want to utilize this last list maybe, and I want to pass it as a variable. So this is my parameterized method now. So I am passing a list of gender, and this web element will be passed whenever the method is called. And once it is done, the next thing is we want to pass the value as well. Yes. So the next I would say maybe string value to be selected. Okay, so the value to be selected is here, and if I replace this value to be selected here, so that is more like my method is ready now. See, now once we have the systematic approach, then things are pretty straightforward and it's not something complicated. Okay, what we can do now, we can copy this entire block, rather move it to our common area, because this is our common area class. Yes, I can do. This is my common method for radio buttons. Uh, Common method for to handle radio button options. Okay, so now this is my common method. Once it is there, now if I come back here and see my radio button, how to handle it, I know my common class is already there, and something radio button we just created, and it detected that the radio gender is already there, but only the value which we want to pass, whether we want to pass male or female. Let's say this time I pick male. Uh, Let me see if it is the option is with the caps or not. Yes, the M is capital, so it's a MALE. Let's see, this is the option, so it is handled. So it's pretty simple now. So we have handled a radio button. Next comes a checkbox. Let's see how we handle the checkbox in our basic module. Say module 7 of. Okay, so we created a list and then we selected the option. Let me copy paste this one so that we can utilize, and this is on what page? Let me see in my application. We have hobbies on insurance data. So on insurance data, let me now move to my insurance data file, which is this, and hobbies is here. Okay, so we want to do the hobbies, and if we copy our that file here, it will work as is, but we don't want to do that. Basically, we want exactly the same way. We want to create a method. So I will create a method public void. Maybe this time I can say select checkbox options. Yeah, and okay, this is my method, and I paste everything inside. And now, because I want to parameterize it so it can be reused, so what I will do, I will copy this and bring it to the method level. And once it is there, then I don't need that, because I know this will be passed from the class page object model thing. And the second parameter which we want is string check options. Think about it. Now this is slightly different from radio button, because in radio button we needed to pass only one value, but here we can pass multiple values. So we will be handling it slightly different way. And I removed this list, and once this is removed, now I have a list of hobbies. So instead of list of hobbies, if I pass these hobbies from here, then basically this list will also go away. And I say, okay, hobbies to check. If I do that, and then basically I can exclude this. So now it will complain because say it's can only iterate over an array. Oh, I see. I see what it means. It's basically complaining now. Why it's complaining? Because we created an array. Wait here. We created an array, and because we were thinking that it will be kind of, let me remove this one first and see. So we were thinking, okay, these are the two options, just do that. And but now, as as a user, when we want to pass these values, it's not possible if we can make this list small or big or something. So instead, what I will do, I will do some slightly different technique. Maybe check options. These are my options, and let's see how we handle it. Okay, we will leave it as is for the time being, but first we will handle this options. If I say, let's say this is my option, I create a string array in the same way we did before. And let's say this is my array options, and now let's say someone has passed me, for example, two options, and I want to do that. Okay, if you have passed me, split those options. What is the split criteria? You can split it with a comma. So it means someone can pass me a comma separated multiple values, and once those values are there, then basically I can utilize it. So now this is more close to this the previously utilized string. So what I can do, I can comment this and rename it. So what we are doing now, we are transforming, we are enabling the option for user that user can pass a string with the comma separated values, multiple values. So in that case, basically it will be more like multiple values but comma separated, and those can work as is, just like we are having this thing and we are splitting them by comma. Okay, so yeah, that looks like work will work. And now what we are doing, we are checking this hobbies, and once we have these options, so the options are outside and inside we have the hobbies, and hobbies was coming from here, and if we have that, and okay, if not, then the item, which is basically this item, is click. And yes, so looks like this is also handled. And now what we can do, we can copy. Yes, this is the complete block. I will copy it from here, rather move it to my common class. Okay, so this is my common method to handle checkbox options. Okay, so it means checkbox, when the checkbox option comes, we need to pass a list of that options and what values we want to see. And let's go here and see what are the options. If I check hobbies, I will see where are my hobbies. I need to see in what sequence the hobbies are. Hobbies are after occupation and beside the website. Okay. So if I look into the occupation, okay, these are my hobbies. So check hobbies. Okay. So what I need to do, basically, I need to call common method and set hobbies, select checkbox. Yes, select checkbox and check hobbies. And what are the hobbies I want to pass? And now this is a question. In that way, basically what we can do, we can copy what we had the list here as is. Let's see how it works. It should not work in this way. It should work as a simple string. Let's see, how can we pass them? Okay, so I have that, and then within that I have bungee jumping, and then comma separated the next. There you go. So what I need to do, I only need to add a comma between my options. So once this option will go there in the list, we will split this complete string based on the comma and utilize every part as a separate string, and that would be our list of options to use for checkboxes. So now, if these are my hobbies in the checkbox, think about it. We also have checkbox for some other area. Checkbox options, checkbox hobby. This is a list of the web element, and next is the list, and it says it complains because create method. Oh, we did not save our class. Okay, so our class was not saved, so it was complaining. Okay, so now it's saved. It is fine. So now we have hobbies, and let me check our application. So we have handled the hobbies, and then in the enter product data, we have optional product, and let me copy this option so we can utilize it. So optional products, and we will check one option. Okay, let's go back to our code, and that is on product data page. Under the optional products, and optional products are here, and I say common dot select checkbox options and checkbox optional products, yes. And the next value which I want to pass only one value here, but I can pass both with the comma separated, and it will work. Okay, so technically now if I see my home page is ready, and my product data is ready, insurance data is ready. So all my pages, we are passing all those values, and let's see how can we incorporate this into our test, and then we run our first test to see the outcome.